always on show to a noisy, prying public thousands of miles from where the animals belong. Animals don't need help breeding. They've been doing it successfully for a very long time. They become threatened because of a variety of environmental factors, all too often the destruction of their habitat by humans. Consequently, protection of that habitat and its animals has been shown to be the swift and cost-effective way of reversing any decline of a species. There are also dangers attached to attempts to reintroduce animals to the wild. In the wild, species build an immunity to naturally occurring disease, but in a zoo might not develop resistance to the most commonplace of ailments. Instead, they may be challenged by viruses from an animal they would never otherwise meet. Viruses can mutate or be transferred across the globe to devastate wildlife. In 1991, a lethal virus was identified in a zoo-bred tamarin just 3 days before the animal was to be released into an area where the virus was unknown. BSE, or mad cow disease, has been reported in zoo animals such as cheetah, kudu, eland, Arabian oryx, puma, and ostriches. The notion of the zoo as an ark from which the wild can occasionally be topped up is so ludicrous that it has led observers to say that zoos have put the con in conservation. Animals remain threatened or are even driven to extinction, whilst precious resources are drained away on expensive, high-profile breeding projects with no serious hope of success. The sad truth is that in many cases, zoo animals are bred simply to attract visitors and publicity, and pressure on space and resources means that some will be sold or killed at the end of the season. This safari park admits that it culls its surplus monkeys. Other monkeys have been supplied for experimentation, with some zoos openly collaborating with animal researchers or even having laboratory facilities on site. Surplus bison and ostriches have been sold to farms to be reared for their meat. Although very few animals find their way out of zoos back into the wild, the traffic is not so uncommon in the other direction. Animals are still being snatched from the wild to provide yet more zoo exhibits around the world. Some animals will spend their lives being shunted from one zoo to another, every time finding that it's no place like home. If zoos are here to protect animals, just how many more will have to be born wild just to die in captivity? Zoos claim that seeing a live wild animal gives an unparalleled appreciation of the power and wonder of nature. But what are they really showing us? The power and dignity of these animals is often stripped from them, and instead of being at one with an environment for which they have evolved, they sit in a wasteland. Giraffes, which drift gracefully above the trees in Africa, in the zoo become awkward-looking freaks in a sideshow. We have a world where the primates hide their faces, the predators never hunt, and where mothers eat their young rather than let them survive. We see lonely, solitary beasts shuffling around concrete enclosures, their eyes sad and empty. Television alone has ensured that our understanding and knowledge of these animals goes way beyond these pathetic exhibits. So many different species crammed together ensures that it is impossible to take away more than a fleeting glimpse of each. A study at a US zoo found that most visitors spend less than 3 minutes looking at each exhibit, and sometimes as little as 8 seconds. True, many of us will never see all these animals in the wild. We will have to make do with books, television, and so on. But could a few minutes of watching this ever justify the tragedy before you. Some knowledge of animals may have come from research at zoos, but it is disproportionate to the number of facilities, and most, including much of that relating to breeding and husbandry, is for the benefit of the industry rather than the animals. Although some menageries now promote themselves with friendly words like sanctuary or rescue centre, they are often self-perpetuating, buying in more animals, letting others breed, and the animals are stuck there as surely as in a zoo by any other name. So check the credentials of anywhere making such a claim. Conservation may be on every zookeeper's lips, but the reality is that the animals you see will not be going home. Ultimately, zoos and safari parks are simply here as entertainment. Some even present animals performing little more than circus tricks to keep the visitors amused. We are given to believe that we pay to see them because we love them. So don't they deserve better? Do they really deserve a life sentence for our amusement?
That's the Trading Post gift shop, situated on the main car park. We'll be closing in 25 minutes' time at 4 o'clock. Thank you.